Today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism and some other things in Tears of a Goddess. This looks like a book, but it's actually a graphic novel adventure from Van Ryder Games. Let me see if there's Jurdik and Monuro are the writers and I believe the illustrators behind this one-player game. This, I think, is the first one-player only game that I've ever bought. It's something that Van Ryder has come to specialize in. And I was enamored by the idea behind it because it's essentially a graphic novel, choose-your-own-adventure book with game mechanisms in it, beyond just what I grew up with as choose-your-own-adventure books. And I'm just amazed by the sheer number of illustrations in this book. Like, the artist just went all out for it. They're beautiful illustrations, and the writing itself is also quite good. So the reason I actually got this is that the open world exploration game that I'm working on uses visuals in not a dissimilar way to this book. Definitely not exactly the same. It's a little bit like Time Stories, a little bit like Seventh Continent, and there's a little bit of this in it. In that you're looking at the image, and what you're looking at actually matters. You're trying to figure out some stuff, and actually I just found an example to share with you in a second. One of the big things, actually, I'll just make this connection right now, and the reason I want to talk about this today is that after I went through this book and played it the other night, I wrote down a bunch of notes because I wanted to use that time to improve my own design and learn from this book, both the good and also the constructive things that I want to, like pitfalls I want to avoid in my exploration game, which is not a book, by the way. It uses visuals, but it's not a book. So one of the things actually that I was really excited about that I loved in Seventh Continent are hidden numbers. I love when art makes you look at it really closely, trying to find hidden things in it, and it feels really good when you spot that hidden number. And I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler because this is an example of what I mean by this book. In this book, on panel 56, you can see big, obviously, number 31 there. So the book does this all the time, where it shows you the image, and then you know very clearly to go to 31. But what's this right here? If you notice that little number 10 that's hidden into the art, less obvious than the 31, then you can go here instead. You go to panel number 10 and I think open that screen door and see what happens. So I really, really like the satisfaction of fun and finding hidden numbers in art, and this book definitely reinforced that. The thing, and actually I'll counter this with something that I found a little bit it left me wanting a little bit, was that I wanted more instances of looking at the art and seeing numbers in the art, like on this one, this crowded area. You can see two numbers very clearly. Maybe there's a hidden number. I haven't looked closely. But there are two numbers. It's clearly a choice between talking to the bartender and talking to some of the patrons at the bar, right? Which, I like that choice. I like that I had that choice. Okay, who do I talk to here? But I wish there was maybe just a little bit more information about which one of those people I should talk to. And I think part of that comes from other aspects of the book. Maybe the bartender is mentioned somewhere else in the book. Maybe someone else mentioned, hey, this patron, they're going to be at this bar at this time. You should go check it out. I think that's great if that happens. But sometimes it's just an image where I just have to kind of intuit, okay, is it better for me to talk to the bartender now or this patron? And I know nothing about either of them. I wish there was a little bit more information shown in the art about these people or in the text so that I can make a more informed decision and have a little bit more agency in it. So that left me wanting a little bit. I'll start with another good thing. I really, really liked the character building in this book, which surprised me a little bit. In the game that I'm working on, really, there isn't a lot of character building. It's a lot more about discovering the world. It's not really about discovering who your character is. But I really liked in this book that the character you're playing, starting out with the backstory in the beginning of the book, there's information here that makes me really connect with the character. And even though I was playing it by myself, there was a little bit of role playing here where I was thinking, okay, this is who I am. These are my motivations. These are the things I'm discovering about myself. How can this impact my decisions in the game? And so it made me maybe want to increase a little bit the amount of character building in the game that I'm doing. Not just character building, but also kind of background discovery, like learning more about who your character is. Let's see. I talked about finding secrets. I have a sticky note right on my monitor here. Okay, so another thing the book really did really good in most places is that it made it easy to backtrack in most cases. So, like, you might choose a path and go on that path, and it might take you to a market, and then the market might say, okay, you can get this thing at this market, and then if you want, you can just return to the place that you just went, and it shows the number there of the place where you just went. At times, the book made it very easy and built into the story itself to return to a previous place. Sometimes it wasn't as easy, though, and because it's a choose-your-own-adventure book, I'm sure some people are going to play strictly by the rules and never go back, but it's choose-your-own-adventure. Like, one of the things that you do is that you make a choice, and then you say, oh, I kind of wish I hadn't made that choice, or I kind of want to see what the other path would have been rather than playing through the whole thing again. And so I kind of wish there were more references to where you just came from, so it's a little bit easier to backtrack in the book. This was a good reminder to me in my game that I allow players at least give them access to the information so that they can go back and see, okay, here's this path that I'm never going to take, but here's what it would have looked like if I had taken it. What else is in here? There are a few puzzles in the book, like just direct, like here are a bunch of numbers and symbols, and figure out what the next number and symbol is. I liked those. I was not very good at figuring them out, and I kind of wish, and maybe I'm just missing it, maybe it's in the FAQ or somewhere, I kind of wish that the book at some place had not just told me the solution, but had told me how I could have gotten to that solution. That is always satisfying for me when I can't figure out a puzzle, when the game just tells me, here's what you should have done. And sometimes, actually, that's good if there are repeated versions of the same puzzle or similar versions of the puzzle in the book. Then at least I have some information to go on when I go to the next puzzle. Okay, clarity. I've talked about this a little bit with that previous image in the bar, but I think this book was a great reminder to me, and it accomplished this in many cases, that clarity is really, really important. When you don't have you don't have a rule book to refer to, you're just giving the character or the player these things to do, giving them as much clarity as possible as to what their choices are and what they need to do is really, really helpful. That was a great reminder to me. What else? Yes. So if you played video games that are collectathons, where you're collecting a lot of different things, you might enjoy that aspect of this book. There's a lot of things that you can collect, right? Secret items that you can find, that you can. I'm trying to think if I could buy any. I don't think I bought any items. I think I was like rewarded with items mostly throughout the book. And video games do this too. They're collectathons where you're trying to get all the stuff. But the one thing I wish this game, and so that was very satisfying here, but I wish that there was a checklist in maybe the back of the book to show me what all of, actually, and there kind of are, actually. I'm looking at the back. I just realized there is a back of the book. There is some stuff back here. Some of it's back here. But basically, I wish there was a comprehensive list of all the things that I could collect, and maybe even how I could collect them. That part is a little bit iffy, but a comprehensive list so I can have that satisfaction of knowing, okay, I got all the things. That's very satisfying when you know for sure that you got all the things. That information is a little bit hidden, and as I'm looking at this now, it's not completely hidden. A lot of these things that you collect are on this back page. Don't look at that closely if you're trying to play this game. But I kind of wish there was a comprehensive way for me to know I got all the things. I did everything. I am done with the story now. I think maybe the debate for me there with my exploration game is that I want it to encourage online conversation. Like, I want people to say, like, I found this. I found it this way. How did you find it? Or I've heard this thing exists. Like, I've heard as I'm walking around this world, I've heard about this thing, but I don't know how to find it. I haven't figured it out. How have you found it? I'm sure maybe all of you have done that with a video game where you just can't figure something out, and you go online and you talk about it with people, and you figure it out either together or you learn how someone else figured it out. And I think there's something satisfying about that. But on the other hand, I think it is also satisfying for the game to sometimes just tell you where you can find those things. So that you don't necessarily have to go online to find the answer. So I think that's an interesting balance there. And I'm actually curious what you think. Is it fun to have that sense of community where you're sharing the different ways that you've discovered something or how to do something? Or is it more satisfying just to have kind of an answer guide somewhere in the rulebook that says, if you want to know all the answers and you want to know how to get all these things, here it is. Here it is in the book. You don't have to go someplace else to do it. Yeah, I'd love your thoughts on that. If you have played another graphic novel adventure and you have some thoughts that you'd like to share about it, especially as it pertains to discovery and exploration, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Or if specifically you've played Tears of a Goddess or a book like it, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Thanks.